be a red flag to every American that the rhetoric and that the the divisiveness that is in this country would foster such an environment that there would be 2 assassination attempts within such a short period of time. That should be of concern to every American. Let's look at what took place. Now, remember this, that the information that we're getting is still very, very sketchy. We know that this individual was waiting in the bushes. He was 300 to 500 yards away, which for a rifle shot is not really a long distance. But the fact that the Secret Service, it was clearly
that's depending on who's shooting. I mean,
probably a sniper position, saw this individual, saw the barrel of the weapon, and opened fire. That shows that they were very, very ready for another threat. And then the individual fled. Witnesses saw his license plate and the vehicle, and then local police are the ones who actually made the arrest. This is called teamwork. This is called when law enforcement agencies work together, and it comes to a conclusion where the bad guys in custody, no harm to President Trump, thank God. But once again, another assassination attempt, not in decades. In fact, I don't think since Gerald Ford have there been 2 assassination attempts on one individual.
Randy, I want to pull up a tweet here from Michelle Price. In it, she says this: the golf course was partially shut down for Trump as he played, and agents were a few holes ahead of him when they noticed the person with the firearm. That's what officials down there said. Now, you with the Las Vegas Police Department, let's put you in this situation. Trump, a former president, is in town. He's golfing. What kind of communication, what kind of teamwork, and what kind of resources would the local police department there have to provide to help Secret Service in order to make sure that Trump were to stay safe, or really any person at that caliber?
Sure thing. Well, let's look at what the mandate of the Secret Service is. They have the primary responsibility for the protection of presidents, their families, former presidents, and other dignitaries that receive that protection. They're the first line, if you will, when it comes down to the protection of these dignitaries, but they cannot do it alone. They have to rely on other agencies, such as state and local and other federal agencies as well, in order to accomplish their mission. You have a president who is out playing golf. There's a lot of room for people to hide in. There's a lot of open space. And so there are sweeps that are made by the Secret Service and also by local law enforcement. But the cops can't be everywhere all the time. And the fact that they had surveillance set up, and the surveillance was very effective today, and that probably was the most important issue here when it came down to protecting the former president. Secret Service agent spots what appears to be the barrel of a weapon and takes decisive action and opens fire. What you have here is where law enforcement did exactly what they were supposed to do. The coordination was excellent. We haven't, of course, heard all of the information. In fact, it's very, very, this information that we're getting right now is still, very, very light. We don't know anything about the identity. We don't know anything about the motivations of the suspect. But we have seen this. We have seen an incredible amount of divisiveness during this election period. I think probably than I have ever seen in my lifetime.
Randy, let's talk a little bit more about the collaboration and coordination between several local law enforcement agents. So this incident happening in Palm Beach County, that's where the golf course is at, where Trump was golfing earlier today. the suspect caught in Martin County. We're talking about really strategic and effective communication between agencies there. Walk us through how that goes.
So we saw in the Pennsylvania attempt, we saw a breakdown of communications, and of course that's being investigated now, and there's a great deal of attention being placed on that. It appears that during this particular incident, that the communication worked very, very well. Now remember that all of these police agencies and federal and state law enforcement agencies all have their own different radio frequencies. So making communication between all of these agencies is a challenge. The fact that this individual was spotted, agents fired upon him, clearly eliminated the threat to the former president. The individual tried to escape, and because of the excellent work of the law enforcement agencies in Florida, they captured him within a very short period of time. When you look at this, even at this cursory look, if you will, because we know so little about the situation as it unfolded, this appears to be a major win for law enforcement, Secret Service, Sheriff's Department, local law enforcement, all working in concert together to bring this situation to a successful conclusion, which is that President Trump is safe and the bad guy is behind bars.
I want to speak a little bit about some of the challenges that local law enforcement agencies have when trying to provide that extra detail or that aid to Secret Service agents and Secret Service members when trying to protect someone like former President Trump. Talk to us about that. I mean, what kind of resources and tools do local law enforcement agencies have at their disposal that they would be able to aid in a certain event like this?
Well, when you have a planned event as this was, President Trump doesn't go anywhere unless there is an advanced team, unless there are plans made that coordinate between the Secret Service and other law enforcement agencies. We're not talking about anything spur of the moment. Let me go ahead and get some ice cream. Not happening. So you have a planned event. Well, that means that you have to do amazing coordination between all of the agencies involved. And there are agencies that we don't even know were involved. And so that requires an incredible amount of coordination. Now, local law enforcement, their primary mission is to enforce local laws and state laws. But you have jurisdictions that are rather large, as in this case with Palm Beach County and Martin County. They have personnel that are specially trained in SWAT tactics, in emergency management. And so this is nothing new to them. This is part of their responsibility, coordinating with the Secret Service and other agencies when there's a dignitary involved. So, this is not something that has not been done before. This is part and parcel of what the law enforcement function is, and that's cooperating with other agencies and giving your resources to them when it is necessary.
Randy, I also want to talk about maybe the dangers when it comes to apprehending a suspect that right now is being accused of an attempted assassination against a former president. I do have some footage here. This is a courtesy of the Martin County Sheriff's Office. Now, this is a picture of when finally law enforcement was able to catch up to the suspected vehicle and apprehend this suspect. What are the protocols in this situation?
Well, it doesn't get any more dangerous for the police officers who are making the car stop. Remember that the officers who are making the vehicle stop, they are the front line. They are the individuals who are literally facing gunfire every single day. We've had almost 300 police officers shot in the line of duty this year so far, which is an astounding number. We've seen the ambushes of more than 47 ambushes of local law enforcement and state law enforcement in the last year itself. So the officers who are called upon to make this vehicle stop are facing incredible danger, and they know it. And so they will. But remember this: that all of these officers are trained in making vehicle stops under felony conditions. Felony car stops, if you will, are part of the training of every law enforcement officer in America. But it all depends on how committed the individual is that you're stopping to determine.
Well, let's revamp the training because obviously there's a problem going on. Uh, 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 far removed from this issue here, but if all of the officers in America are receiving the same exact uh, traffic stop training, then it needs to be changed. Horrible.
The president of the United States, well, the heightened danger there is through the roof. And so you can bet that they were ready to take whatever action was necessary to take this individual into custody or to end the threat.
Randy, in respect to local law enforcement and the officers there, we know that the FBI is now taking over this investigation. How involved is the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and the Martin County Sheriff's Office going to be going forward?
So as far as the prosecution of this individual, this will be a federal crime. The FBI will be the lead agency. The United States Attorney's Office and the Department of Justice will be the agency that prosecutes him. Local law enforcement, their function was to make the vehicle stop, make the arrest, and then complete whatever reports are needed in order to provide the continuity for the prosecution. So, the criminal justice system is just that, a system. The law enforcement component makes the arrest, provides the probable cause to the prosecution. In this case, the prosecution would be the U.S. Attorney's Office. It's then their job to put the criminal case together, to bring forth the prosecution, and then it's the judiciary, in this case it will be a federal judiciary, will try the individual and then sentence him. So the system has to work together, and all of the different components, state, local, and federal system, all of these agencies have to coordinate to create a prosecution where this individual will be brought to justice.
Randy, we always invite you to come on to really offer that perspective when it comes to these local law enforcement agencies and how they really are there to protect the wider public, but they also do step in when these larger incidents do occur. Is there anything that you would like to add before I let you go?
Well, the only thing I would like to add is that, the number of law enforcement officers shot and being physically injured in the line of duty is absolutely almost to the point where even I can't believe it. And I've been in this law enforcement community for more than 40 years. The dangers that are facing these officers every single day, whether they are working with their federal partners in a situation like this, or they're even simply making vehicle stops or pedestrian stops, is exceedingly dangerous. And I wanted to say this, that if you're a law enforcement officer and you're struggling because of the situations that you face, or you've been physically injured, my organization is the Wounded Blue, and we help injured officers throughout this nation, whether those injuries are physical, emotional, or psychological. And that means if you are federal, local, or state, come to us. Never forgotten and never alone.
All right, I hope you found that conversation insightful from earlier today. I spoke with Lieutenant Randy Sutton, the founder of the Wounded Blue. Here on your screen right now, and taking another live look down there in West Palm Beach in Florida at the Trump International Golf Course. As you can see, it's still a very active situation. A bit earlier on, we did see that they brought some dogs out there, sniffing out the property, trying to make sure that they get every piece of evidence possible regarding this latest investigation into the second attempted assassination against former President Trump. It does look like they will be out there for several hours later on into the evening, and everybody in that area, this is West Palm Beach, Florida, is asked to avoid it. We did hear from the Palm Beach County Sheriff earlier today. He says that all the agencies there are working to secure this perimeter where the active investigation is going on, but they do assure that come Monday morning, everything will move swiftly for anyone that has to commute throughout this area to get to school, to go to the post office, to go to the library, etc. The FBI is taking the lead on this investigation. Of course, we know that the suspect is in custody at this moment. We are still waiting for the mugshot to be released, just one of the pieces that we're waiting for here as we continue to follow the latest on this story. We're going to step away for a quick commercial break here at Live Now from Fox, but stick with us because we continue with this next.
You know, here at TDB, we don't do commercial breaks. Let's see some other Kelly Morgan's live.
Grassley put out. I have tweeted about it. I tweeted about it again today. It is basically the interview that the FBI conducted with this man named Asif Merchant, who they arrested on July 12th, the day before the Butler assassination attempt. So you can see exactly the interview. He was in an Iranian safe house talking with a man they identified as Youssef about whether they should target a outdoor rally or an indoor rally, whether they should use a pistol or whether they should use a rifle. They said they evaluated all the Secret Service assets that Donald Trump was using. And we know from we know now it's been we're all well aware that he was being treated as a former president, just like Barack Obama or Jimmy Carter. He was not being afforded. It was not threat-based, as the Secret Service claims they always operate threat-based. But we know now that that was not the case with Donald Trump before Butler. So they were evaluating, this Asif Merchant was evaluating in an Iranian safe house the assets that the Secret Service was using pre-Butler to protect Trump. And they assessed that they probably had a 50-50 chance of being successful in their assassination attempt. I mean, wow. It was chilling. It was downright chilling.
And do we know the percentage beef up in Secret Service from assassination attempt number 1 to today?
Chat, we're about to move the party outside. Come on.
Yeah, well, I just was getting into this on Twitter and people are taking issue with me.
They move the party outside.
I am told that it's far more than he had before. Okay, obviously. He only got his counter sniper the day before the Butler rally. When they were arresting, the FBI was arresting the man I just mentioned, okay, for assassination attempt. But it's far more than what he had before. It's almost what I'm hearing. It's almost what a sitting president gets, minus the military assets. Of course, he doesn't have Marine One, doesn't have Air Force One, doesn't have the extra agents that carry the nuclear football with him, doesn't have a military aid. But the key question, I think, for today is whether he had the security perimeter. Does he have? They didn't have a security perimeter, because this guy, Ryan Ruth, got right up to the fence and was poking his rifle through the AK-47, right through. And that's the only thing the Secret Service saw that indicated that there was a threat. And it was, he was it was in between the 5 and 6 hole on the golf course. And thank goodness the Secret Service, we had a good team around him.
Was it Secret Service? Do we know, Susan? Was it Secret Service, like proper?
Yes, absolutely. The Secret Service, yes, the sheriff, Bradshaw, the Palm Beach Sheriff Bradshaw did say it was Secret Service, and he said they acted in a fantastic manner today, and was shooting, but did not shoot him, okay? One of my Secret Service sources in that community said, well, they didn't shoot him. Well, he was hiding in the bushes. Yeah. But the key question,
is that confirmed that he definitely did not pull the trigger first? Because some online are saying be careful.
Okay, well, that's what the law enforcement is saying. That's the official word. My Secret Service sources haven't said anything against that so far. They haven't. They don't say. I mean,
is it in any way a breach of protocol for them to shoot somebody who's got an AK-47 style rifle 300 feet from the president?
No.
Obviously, right. They can shoot first.
No, what the whole issue for Butler that I was reporting early that people were taking issue with was it is in their culture, if they don't see a gun, not to shoot. If they can't make out that it's an actual gun, if it's not a toy gun. But if at this point, that's out the window. They're going to shoot.
Mhm.
They're going to shoot if they see a gun. The suspect becomes a threat when you see the gun and pointed towards the president or
Yeah.
the former
What
president.
what
that's
what
when
if
it
anything
becomes
do
the
they
threat.
say? What if anything do they say about the fact that, we're grateful that these Secret Service agents noticed the gun and saw this guy hiding, but also there are questions about why he was relatively unprotected so close to the open road. This guy just came up to the chain link fence and shoved his gun in one of the links and almost took out Donald Trump. Like, to me, that does seem like a failure of imagination or planning.
Well, what I want to know is, does Joe Biden get a security perimeter when he plays golf? Is it the exact same security assets does Biden
Good
have
question.
that did Trump get that same security assets today? Because we know they're available because Biden's not using them. Okay. So obviously, that's the big question in my mind. And how many assets were there? We were the counter surveillance units. They were not there at Butler. Were they there today? Did Donald Trump say, well, I really like to play golf, so I need to interact with, he had his friend and donor with him, his good friend, Stephen Witkoff with him. Maybe they wanted to be able to be more accessible to the public. I don't know. I'm asking the Trump campaign, is that something? There's a balance to be struck always with the candidate wants. You can't put Trump now. Of course, they're going to reevaluate everything in terms of they instituted the bulletproof glass last time on outdoor rallies. I'm wondering, if they have designed some type of Pope mobile that he has to be in now if he wants to go out. It's a sad situation, but there's always this balance to be struck. The Secret Service would like him to stay indoors and operate like, maybe like Biden did during the 2020 election. Is
That's
that
not Trump.
Yeah, it's not Trump. He wants to interact. So you have to strike a balance. But what I want to know is, obviously, this was a perimeter problem. We had a perimeter problem in Butler. They put the AGR building outside the perimeter. There's questions surrounding why that happened, in addition to why there was nobody on the roof. I'm told by my Secret Service sources, as recently as yesterday, that I've gone back and forth. I've talked to the Butler law enforcement. They say one thing. The Secret Service sources say another, that it was law enforcement's fault that day. They were in charge. The Secret Service charged them with protecting that building, and they chose to go inside because it was hot. I believe that's the case. I've had multiple sources tell me that. And so, please come forward and show me the plan that had the Secret Service say they have a post plan where they show where everybody's supposed to be. The one thing that I will say, it's still on the Secret Service because they did not go through their checks. I'm told, long ago in the Secret Service, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you had, when everybody was ready, when there was 5 minutes, they call it Bravo, 5 minutes till Trump goes on, you do a security check. Everybody in their post that they were assigned to, yep, and they go through, the supervisor goes through. Everybody's at where they're supposed to be. That did not occur at Butler, or the lead agent, when we know who she is, the lead agent from the Pittsburgh field office was not checking that day and allowed them, when they protested, to go inside. So I'm still worried about this. They're still leaving these perimeters open, and Trump has got to reevaluate how he's going to operate from now on. I mean, he has to do some soul searching.
I think he needs private security.
Yeah,
I don't.
It's sad because the Secret Service that he has now, I'm sure he has the best that the agency has to offer now, because the gig is up, right? You didn't. I have been told by multiple sources that Cheadle did not like Trump. Okay, so everyone asked me.
Cracking client support. It's like.
Let me see it. Or not ABC, Fox, whoever was that. If they are back.
To deputy.
Back from commercial. The only reason why I'm liking Fox's coverage of it is because they're gonna be the most sentimental about it, because they like Trump the most. So I feel like they're gonna give us the official. Let's see. If there's any. What is these?
I'm Bill Gage, a former Secret Service agent, and for the first time, we'll be breaking down the entire timeline of the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. We'll be analyzing every critical detail from the moment Thomas Crooks began planning his attack to the decisive actions taken by the Secret Service to evacuate President Trump to safety. Let's get started. July 3rd, Trump plans to hold a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. These events, they're planned weeks in advance, most likely the last week of June.
Well, let's bring you some news just coming in. The FBI says that former President Donald Trump was the subject of an apparent assassination attempt at his Florida golf club. That just confirmed in the last few moments. Previously, we were questioning the motivation behind the incident, and police were keen not to speculate, but that confirmation now coming in from the FBI that former President Donald Trump was the subject of an apparent assassination attempt at his Florida golf club.
We said that they were going to try again.
We'd heard from the Secret Service acknowledging that shots were fired on their part. They're acting in conjunction with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, investigating what they'd previously described as a protective incident involving former President Donald Trump that occurred shortly before 2 p.m. Also confirming that the
we don't know much more about Trump. Like people don't generally know more about Trump than they did before, honestly, because he was already a mogul, he was already pretty famous, people already dug into his life. You know what I mean? Of course, over the last couple of years, it's gotten deeper, but like this hatred over Trump, it's not like this, you can't convince me that this is just like random acts that like citizens that hate Trump are committing. Nah, this is some type of system behind it, because it's like, if people hated Trump that much, people would have been trying to kill him a long time ago before he had all the security. Facts. Right? But I digress. Are we off of commercial break? I don't believe so. They be on like 10-minute commercial breaks. Who else is covering this? This is all very fresh, very brand new chat. This happened like a couple hours ago. As you can see, all this coverage is like mad fresh. I thought I saw Fresh and Fit actually live covering it. Let me see. Tap in with the homies. Are they live? Nah, not no more, I don't think. Yeah, I guess they just streamed when it initially dropped. I guess I probably should have went live like an hour ago. But a lot of y'all are just now seeing this, just now figuring out, oh shoot. And honestly, it's like the majority of people that are gonna know about the situation aren't gonna know until tomorrow anyway, because coverage is so subjective. But let's see if
follow the latest on this story, rehashing this and re-racking it for our viewers who may just be joining now or who may have missed when we had played it earlier today. So again, this next, the presser from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and all the latest details we know on this investigation of the second attempted assassination of former President Trump.
Always talk about ahead of time. We are going to give you, when I say we have a representative from the FBI, from the Secret Service, from the State Attorney's Office. We are going to give you everything we have. Everything. All right? So when we get done, think about your questions, because we're not going to take a lot. And keep them to the information that you heard. Don't get into what ifs, and because it is.